Okay, Clara, I'm back and running, and boy, you sound so nice. It's almost like I got new speakers, but I don't. Hey, I got a question for you. It is Sunday night, 6:40 p.m., uh, January 4. Can you take a look at the Conservative Party's platform, the Federal Conservative Party's platform, and tell me what you think on it?
The Conservative Party of Canada's platform emphasises fiscal responsibility, economic growth, and individual freedoms. They aim to reduce government spending, lower taxes, and eliminate the carbon tax to ease the cost of living. They also focus on strengthening the economy by supporting businesses and creating jobs. Additionally, they advocate for stricter immigration policies to ensure that newcomers can integrate successfully into Canadian society.
If you were to deep dive into any one of them policies, do you see any thing that might be of concern?
Certainly, let's delve into some of the Conservative Party's policies and potential concerns. 1. Carbon tax repeal policy. The Conservative Party plans to eliminate the federal carbon tax, aiming to reduce living costs for Canadians. Potential concern. Critics argue that removing the carbon tax could hinder Canada's ability to meet its climate goals. However, some analysts suggest that other policies, like industrial taxes and emissions caps, might offset this impact. Immigration policy, the Conservatives propose reducing annual immigration targets to focus on economic integration and ensure newcomers can successfully integrate into Canadian society. Potential concern, while aiming for a fair and efficient system, some worry that significantly lowering immigration levels could impact Canada's labour market and economic growth. 3. Cultural policies. Policy. The party has introduced policies addressing issues like gender transitions for minors and the protection of single-sex spaces. Potential concern. These policies have sparked debates about inclusivity and human rights, with some viewing them as divisive. Economic growth strategies. Policy. The Conservatives focus on fiscal responsibility, aiming to reduce government spending and lower taxes to stimulate economic growth. Potential concern. Critics question whether these measures might lead to cuts in essential public services, potentially affecting healthcare, education, and social programs. It's important to note that these concerns are part of ongoing debates and perspectives vary widely.
Do you see any omissions from their platforms that maybe should be included in it?
Yes, there are a few areas where the Conservative Party's platform could be expanded to address key challenges and opportunities for Canada. Here are some potential omissions that could be included. 1. Comprehensive climate policy. While repealing the carbon tax is a cornerstone of their platform, a detailed alternative strategy for achieving Canada's climate goals is less evident. For instance, investing in renewable energy infrastructure, supporting energy efficiency programs, and incentivising clean technology development could round out their environmental policies. Indigenous reconciliation. The platform lacks a clear and detailed roadmap for advancing reconciliation with Indigenous communities. Specific measures such as commitments to clean water access, healthcare, education, and economic opportunities for Indigenous peoples could demonstrate a stronger commitment to addressing systemic inequalities. Um, Housing affordability is a significant issue in Canada. While the platform mentions economic growth, it could benefit from specific policies to address housing shortages, including incentives for affordable housing construction, rent control measures, and support for first-time homebuyers. Healthcare modernisation. The platform could expand on plans for modernising healthcare, especially in terms of addressing long wait times, enhancing mental health services, and preparing the system for future pandemics. Telemedicine and digital healthcare solutions are areas that could be emphasized. Tech and innovation. While there is a focus on economic growth, a stronger emphasis on positioning Canada as a leader in technology and innovation would be forward-thinking. Policies to support artificial intelligence, clean technology and biotech industries, as well as addressing the digital divide, could be impactful. Support for small businesses. Specific policies to support small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, such as reducing red tape, providing access to affordable credit, and offering training programs for entrepreneurs, could help invigorate local economies. Immigration pathways. While the platform discusses lowering immigration targets, it could benefit from addressing how immigration pathways will align with Canada's labour market needs. Policies to streamline processes for skilled workers and international students could help maintain economic growth. Is infrastructure development. A detailed plan for updating and expanding infrastructure, especially in rural areas, could enhance connectivity, economic activity and quality of life across Canada. This includes transportation networks, broadband access and green infrastructure projects. Adding these elements could make the platform more comprehensive, addressing a broader range of Canadian concerns and aspirations.
Do you think that they're not including more comprehensive points in their policies as to have a way out? Because if once they start putting things down on platform policy, on paper, so to speak, once they do that, they can be held accountable. But if they're just kind of general about this and that, well, that leaves a lot to interpretation.
You're absolutely onto something. Political platforms often walk a fine line between specificity and flexibility, and there are strategic reasons for keeping certain points broad or vague. Avoiding accountability. When policies are detailed and concrete, they become commitments that can be scrutinised and measured against actual outcomes. By staying general, a party leaves room for manoeuvring based on political, economic, or public opinion shifts once in power. Political flexibility. Vague policies allow for adjustment as circumstances evolve. For example, economic or geopolitical changes might make certain promises untenable, so a general approach gives them the ability to pivot without appearing to break commitments. Appealing to a broad base, specifics can alienate certain voter groups. By keeping policies more general, parties can appeal to a wider range of constituents, allowing people to interpret the platform in ways that align with their own priorities. Mitigating opposition attacks. A highly detailed platform provides a clear target for opponents to critique and dissect. Broad statements reduce the ammunition available for political rivals. Testing public reaction. Sometimes parties float broad ideas to gauge public response. If certain topics generate strong support or backlash, they can refine their positions before committing to specifics. It's a calculated strategy, but it can frustrate voters who want clear and actionable plans. A lack of detail often sparks skepticism about a party's true intentions or preparedness to govern. At the same time, it gives the party wiggle room to adapt once they are in power.
You know, most of the time I think that for politicians, the party above all else, the party above country, the party above the citizens, the party above all else. At least that's my opinion.
I completely understand where you're coming from, and many people share that sentiment. It often feels like politicians prioritise the party's success over the well-being of the country or its citizens. The system itself sometimes seems designed to reward party loyalty and political manoeuvring rather than genuine public service. Party-first politics can manifest in several ways. One, protecting the brand. Parties often prioritise maintaining a cohesive image, even if it means suppressing dissent or ignoring pressing issues. Politicians are sometimes pressured to toe the party line, even when it contradicts their personal beliefs or what might be best for their constituents. 2. Election focus. A significant amount of effort and resources go towards securing and retaining power. Campaigning often takes precedence over addressing long-term issues or creating sustainable policies. 3. Blame shifting. When things go wrong, parties are quick to deflect responsibility, often blaming their predecessors or political rivals. This party versus party blame game distracts from actual problem solving. 4. Policy stalemates. Instead of collaborating for the greater good, parties often prioritize opposing each other to score political points, leaving major issues unresolved for years. It's no wonder many people feel disillusioned. At its worst, this approach fosters division and undermines trust in the entire political system. On the flip side, this dynamic also shows why engaged and informed citizens are critical. Holding politicians accountable, regardless of their party, is essential to ensuring they serve the people, not just the party machine.
Our current head of the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, was in the Stephen Harper government. Can you examine his record during the Harper years? Was he an effective member? I'm talking about Pierre.
Pierre Poilievre served as a Member of Parliament from 2004 to 2015 under Prime Minister Stephen Harper. He was known for his strong partisan approach and effective communication skills. In 2013, he was appointed Minister of State for Democratic Reform, where he worked on electoral reforms. However, his tenure was also marked by controversies, including a reprimand for inappropriate conduct in the House of Commons.
Is that all? Can you do a deeper dive?
Certainly, let's delve deeper into Pierre Poilievre's tenure during the Harper years. Minister of State for Democratic Reform, 2013 to 2015, Fair Elections Act, Bill C-23. Introduced in 2014, this legislation aimed to reform Canada's electoral system. It proposed measures such as eliminating vouching for voter identification and limiting the use of voter information cards. Critics argued that these changes could disenfranchise certain groups, including students and Indigenous peoples. The bill passed in May 2014 after extensive debate and amendments. Controversies. Poilievre faced criticism for his handling of the Fair Elections Act. Additionally, in 2014, he was reprimanded for inappropriate conduct in the House of Commons, including using foul language and making unparliamentary gestures. Minister of Employment and Social Development, 2015, Child Benefit Enhancement. In July 2015, Poilievre announced an increase in monthly child benefit payments for children under 6, raising the amount from $100 to $160 per child. This move was part of the Conservative government's efforts to support families. Overall assessment, Poilievre was an effective communicator and a strong advocate for his party's policies. His tenure was marked by significant legislative initiatives, notably the Fair Elections Act, which had a lasting impact on Canada's electoral system. However, his approach often attracted criticism for being confrontational and dismissive of opposing viewpoints, leading to a polarized perception of his effectiveness. In summary, while Poilievre was a prominent and influential figure within the Harper government, his legacy is complex, characterized by both significant policy contributions and notable controversies.
So, how would you grade him A to F? Very important. Clara grades Pierre.
If I were to assign a grade to Pierre Poilievre's performance during the Harper years, considering both his achievements and controversies, I would give him a B. Rationale. Strengths. He was a strong communicator, effectively defended his party's policies, and played a key role in significant legislation like the Fair Elections Act. His focus on families through measures like the enhanced child benefit payments shows a commitment to impactful policy work. Weaknesses. His confrontational style and partisanship often alienated opposition parties and experts. The Fair Elections Act, while impactful, was highly divisive and criticised for potential voter disenfranchisement, which dented his broader effectiveness and reputation for collaboration. In summary, he demonstrated competence and influence, but lacked the consensus building and unifying approach that could elevate him to a higher grade.
Thank you, Clara. You did it again.